In October of 1999, our family was at the funeral home and going through the process of selecting things and picking out the casket for my mother's funeral. And they asked my dad and turned to him and said, "Which one of these would you like?" And his response was, "I just want her back, that's all." Afterwards, he said, "My desire is just to be with her, and so I want to finish the last days of my life growing closer to God so that I can be with her when I die." There is nothing that is so definitive as death. Death cannot be undone. It is a permanent reality, is how we experience it. Someone who is sick, they can be brought back to health, perhaps. But with death, nothing can be done. Mary and Martha said to Jesus, "If you had been here, our brother would not have died." In other words, they knew he had power to heal those who were sick. But they didn't yet know that he also has power even to raise people from the dead. Why did Jesus stay where he was for 2 days after he heard about Lazarus being sick? He didn't immediately go to the home because he wanted to show the power of God, not only to be able to heal people who are sick, but even to raise them from the dead. According to Jewish custom, someone had to be dead for 3 days before they were officially declared dead. And here Lazarus was in the tomb for 4 days. And they say, even we don't want to open the grave even. There will be a stench when we open it. And yet Jesus raised him up. He restored him to life. For Lazarus, it was more of a resuscitation rather than a resurrection, because he went on to live for several years, but then died again, awaiting the final resurrection, when on the last day, Jesus will gather all people as he comes back to earth and raise them from the dead. All those whose bodies are in the graves will be raised up and reunited with their souls to live again. If he can raise people who have been dead for 4 days, he certainly can raise people who have been dead for hundreds of years or thousands of years. With God, all things are possible. So this resurrection of Lazarus is pointing to Jesus' resurrection that we're about to celebrate in a couple weeks. For Jesus, it was not just a resuscitation, but it was a glorification, a transformation of his body to be completely new. And so our resurrection will be too on the last day. What kind of body will we have? Well, all we know is what we have in the Gospels. He was able to pass through doors. He could appear and disappear. He ate fish, though, while he was in their presence. He could travel at the speed of thought. And he was no longer subject to illness, tiredness, disease, or death. Jesus has been risen, and he lives now forever. When he was on earth, Jesus healed many people, but he didn't heal everyone, because the ultimate healing is the resurrection from the dead, in which he restores our life to us, and not only our life, but an even greater life than we here have on earth. Why did Jesus raise Lazarus? That you may believe, he says, that I am the resurrection and the life. Is there anything that Jesus can't do? Anything that cannot be undone by the Lord? Even those enmeshed in sin, we might think it's too far gone. Jesus can transform it. He can give us new life, spiritual life, or relationships that we feel have been broken or we're lost to that friendship. It's too late. Not for Jesus. He can do anything. We receive the gift of new life through baptism and the other sacraments, the grace of the Holy Spirit who raised Jesus from the dead. Even death itself is defeated by Christ, who is the Lord of life and death. Whether we live or die, we belong to the Lord. Let us together profess our faith.